What's up guys, Paramoto here. Welcome to the channel, welcome to the video. Today is my full official 1-year review of this motorcycle. If you guys follow the channel, you guys know that my most popular videos is here is why the Ducati Panigale is worth $16,000. And this is going to be my response to that. 1 year later, here is why the Ducati Panigale 959 is still worth $16,000. If you're new to this channel or just stumbled across this video, my name is Paramoto 959. I make motorcycle videos, I make weekly vlogs, I make 3 videos a week typically. Welcome to the channel. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button, make sure you hit that like button. It helps me out a ton. If you guys are not new to this channel, you guys know that I bought my 2018 Ducati Panigale 959 brand new December 2017. I made a video just about 6 months to a year ago of why this motorcycle is worth $16,000, and this is going to be my rebuttal to that video. I still believe that this motorcycle, even today in 2019, still worth $16,000. So a quick rundown of stats. So like I've said before, this motorcycle is basically last generation superbike quick, okay? That means it's got about 157 horsepower, it's got about 80 foot-pounds of torque, and it weighs about 430 pounds wet. Some things that make it stand out as being a very special motorcycle to me is that it's basically going to be one of the last motorcycles that Ducati makes in the superbike platform to have that just very distinct L-twin Super Quattro engine. This motorcycle is basically my favorite sounding motorcycle. Just start up, revving, hard pulls, quick shifting. It's just an amazing sounding motorcycle, and that's why I love it so much. That's why I picked it to be my main squeeze for the time being. So I bought this bike brand new for about $16,000 out the door. It is the Arctic White version of this motorcycle. They come in Arctic White with the red rims, which I just think pops so much, and then it also comes with the traditional red fairings and black rims, as Ducati is so famous for. Basically, it is an upcharge a little bit. The reason why I went with the Arctic White is because the 899s, the previous model Little Panigale, had a lot of problems with scratching. It came without a clear coat on the red versions. I just didn't want to deal with that, so I just went Arctic White. It's the matte, paint scheme. I think it looks a little bit more modern, a little bit more clean. I love white vehicles and white guitars. It's kind of like my thing. So if you guys are new to the Little Panigales, the small Panigale platform, they're basically there to capture that 600cc crowd. I came from a CBR 600. I had 2 of those. I wrecked both of them. Had a lot of fun on them, learned a lot on them, and then I wanted to step up to something new, and that's really what these motorcycles are for. These bikes are to capture that crowd that's been rocking the Ninja 636, me, the CBR 600, the R6s and stuff like that, and they do that in a few different ways. One is the price point. It's definitely more affordable than a V4 or a 1299. Like I said, these things come in about $16,000. Those will come in, every single one of them that I know comes in over 20. One thing that stands out 100% over the year and a half that I've owned this motorcycle is that the build quality is just fantastic and amazing. Every time I go out in my garage, I'm still greeted with that new motorcycle smell. And that really just, it goes to show that there's quality and craftsmanship in this motorcycle. They care, there's quality parts, it's put together well. I've really had no build problems with this thing whatsoever, besides for a little bit of growing pains, which I'll get into later. Everything on this motorcycle has an amazing feel. I kind of equate it to like an SR-71 Blackbird. The SR-71 Blackbird was a leaky piece of crap spy plane on the ground, but then once you got it up in the air and you gave it some speed, it became just poetry in motion. And that's exactly what the Ducati Panigales are. When you're low speed, this thing kind of feels heavy. When you give it any sort of gas, it lightens up and it becomes flickable, and it becomes super agile and quick, and you start pounding through those gears and get that quick shifter going, and it's absolutely just magic. I've never felt the same way on any other motorcycle than I do when I ride my Panigale. Like I said, these bikes are here to capture the 600 market. market. They do that by price point, and they do that by providing flickability. This bike feels a tiny bit higher and a tiny bit wider than my CBR 600. It's not like you're stepping into a totally different realm of motorcycle when it comes down to feel. You maintain flickability. The weight is just slightly more on this bike than it was on other bikes, and honestly, you're going to be very comfortable going from a 600 to a Ducati Panigale 959. Harley rider interrupting the video. Get out of here, Harley bro. Anyway, guys, a couple things that they do to keep it within the same realm of the 600 price wise is that you don't get the single-sided swing arm. I don't miss it. I think this looks good. I think it looks stylish. It's well built in quality, but I mean, that is one thing to take in consideration, that you are not going to get a single-sided swing arm on the 959 first gen. The second generation, which I made a video about, will most likely have a single-sided swing arm. Another thing that you do not get with the 959 is you do not get a color display. You don't get that full color display, but you get a very classy display with this motorcycle nonetheless. I don't have any problems with it whatsoever. I like the black on white of the display. It looks very classy at night, and there's really nothing that's negative about it. I can't bring up anything at all that's negative about this motorcycle. Everything about this bike is it just relays quality. Something about this motorcycle that I've never had on a 600 is very mechanical, very quality feeling with all the controls and gears. Everything has weight to it and has, you know, good positive motions between the clutch and the brake. Every time you upshift, it's like a good positive clunk in the gear. You know that it's in gear. You know when it's in gear. When you miss the shift, you do know that. And it's just like, you know that when you buy something from Walmart, it feels light and flimsy and crappy. This is the total opposite of that. Every single thing on this motorcycle relays quality, from every little nut and bolt, every little piece of it, every single pull of a lever or twist of a throttle feels like quality on this motorcycle, and that's why I love it so much. And that's probably why I'm going to keep a Ducati in the stable for the rest of my riding career, just because these things the quality is just 2 notches above anything else that I've ever ridden. And to be honest with you guys, I have not ridden absolutely every single motorcycle out there, but I have ridden quite a few, and this is the best built motorcycle I've ever ridden. Ducati Panigale 959 does not have the most advanced electronics there are out there, but it does have quite a bit of good electronic rider aids. So when you flip it on, you hear the fuel pump going, you hear a couple little mechanical things going. It tells you how far along you are till your next service. I'm at about 1,200 miles until my next service, which is going to be probably about $300 to $400. I need to get a new front tire, so it's probably going to be about $500-600 to do that service, which is not too bad when you're considering you're riding an Italian Super Sport. You're going to have a little bit more expensive services, but Ducati has really gone above and beyond when it came down to fixing that problem. Honestly, back in the day, the services used to be absolutely ridiculous, and they'd be like $1,000 a piece, and they were like really close together. Not so much anymore. You're getting a service every 7,500 miles, and it's going to cost you $300 or $400. Every other service is probably going to get you to that 15,000 mile big service where they have to tear down the bike and check the valves. That's going to be a little bit more. It's going to be about $1,500. You know what you're getting into when it comes down to riding Italian super bikes. I mean, there is some specialness to them, and you do pay for that a little bit. So this bike has 3 different modes, okay? It has basically your engine braking, it has dynamic traction control, and it has ABS. Your 3 modes are wet, sport, and race. I typically stay in sport mode because it always gives me that next level. So if I feel like going a little bit faster tomorrow rather than today, then where I'm just going around traffic running errands, I'll get that. Like if I go out on country roads and I really want to crank it up a little bit, I'll turn it on to race, and that means that I almost have something new to look forward to every single time I ride. Like a lot of people get bored with their bikes. I'll never get bored with this bike because I always have that different mode to go to. Your electronics will intervene a little bit sooner or a little bit later depending on what mode you're in. Wet mode is where you're going to get the most electronic rider aids. Race, you'll have the least. Keep in mind that there are different figures on different resources that you look up, and there's also different it looks like different numbers are put in for Euro versus US, but basically my book says wet mode has 130 horsepower, and you'll have kind of a laggy throttle to keep that rear wheel from staying down and keep it biting. Sport mode, you're going to have the full 157 horsepower, and you're going to have a little bit less intervention. And race mode, you're going to have the least intervention, the most horsepower, and the least amount of throttle play. It's going to give you power immediately. It's going to be very abrupt. It's going to be very brutal, and I love it. This does come with a couple things that I think is absolutely necessary when it comes down to a sport bike. One, this is a steering damper. Okay, you need that on a sport bike, okay? And then you have fantastic brakes with the Brembo brakes. Okay, the 959 comes with Brembos. It's not the monoblock that got recalled. It's a different model. I think those are absolutely 100% essentials when you have a very nice sport bike like this. All right, for the rest of this video, I want to go ahead and ride this bike. Here's my favorite part of the day right here. Every time I get to kick the kickstand up and I get to start my Panigale, I'm having a good day. I think the Italian Star is the best sounding motorcycle on the face of the planet. You do have a quick shifter, so that could be your last time using the clutch if you're going off in the traffic. Personally, I like clutching the bike. It's habit. I enjoy it. The parking garage is going to do this exhaust note just amazing justice. It's going to give you that bass that kind of gets lost on YouTube and on the in-helmet microphones and stuff like that. Personally, I think this is the best sounding motorcycle that's ever been made. It just sounds like a beast. It sounds angry. It sounds like it wants to go fast and have fun. And it really encourages you to do so. 10 out of 10. And this is with a stock exhaust. I don't think there's another motorcycle that sounds like this. Besides for another Panigale, another Ducati. I think these are the best sounding bikes on the face of the planet. Alright guys, so I want to talk about a couple more things. One is going to be the services, reliability, and the track record that Ducati has as a company. Back in the day, Ducati had a really shitty reputation for having really bad services that were really expensive and very frequent, as well as having bikes that were just generally unreliable. Well, when Audi and Volkswagen took over, they have changed that, okay? They made Lamborghini and Ducati basically get their shit together when it came to services and reliability, because those are two of the things that people complain about the absolute most. It seemed like every 4.5 miles, you'd have to take the bike to the fucking dealer, they'd have to rip it all down, check the valves, and basically fucking, you know, charge you thousands of dollars for a service that it was just, it deemed a little bit unnecessary, a little bit too much, right? Ducati has changed that now. The Ducati services are basically every 7,500 miles. Okay, a regular service is like $300 to $400, and then like the big expensive one is about $1,500, and that's when they tear down the bike. Okay, I've spent $1,000 on a service for basically a fucking CBR 600RR that needed a little bit of work. You're not really out of the realm of fucking where you would be with any other sport bike. It's starting to become, the prices and services are starting to come down to what you would generally expect with just about every other single motorcycle. The thing that I think absolutely differentiates Italian bikes like the Ducatis over, you know, a Japanese bike like a Yamaha or a Honda is the quality of the dealership's customer service. Oh my god, is it totally different. So guys, I've said at least 10 times on this channel that Ducati services are by far and above the best service departments that I've ever fucking dealt with in my entire life. I do have the extended warranty on this motorcycle, and I haven't had to pay for anything yet. I have yet to have to pay for a single service besides for, you know, wear and tear parts and the general service. But when you go into the dealerships that are run by Ducati, you're welcome there. Like, people want you to be there, they enjoy your presence, and they're there to answer your questions and help you. I've had less than favorable experience at Japanese motorcycle dealerships, and that could just be the guys in my area just suck, but I've had really bad experiences with them and really awesome experiences with Ducati. I know my fucking service guy by first name basis. He's very nice and very informative, and that's something that I've never dealt with any other fucking dealership, that people actually give a shit about you and their service, because it hurts their brand. It really does hurt their brand if people don't like coming to your shop. And Ducati is by far and above, has some of the best fucking some of the best customer service that basically I've ever seen. The last thing that I truly want to touch base on is the maintenance and the things that I've had break on this bike since I've owned it. I know like the Italian superbikes have like the worst reputation out there, but honestly it's not been that bad. Almost everything I've dealt with has been a growing pain from a setup that was probably done a little bit hastily in Italy. Nonetheless, it is a problem that I do want to touch base on real quick. The first thing I dealt with was these windshield nuts were rubbing on the top of my front brake reservoir, and they were basically eroding because of the writing was basically tearing them apart, and it looked really shitty. The next thing I dealt with was some heat shielding on this side ended up fucking coming off. That was an issue, okay? It was totally an issue. Ducati ended up replacing both those things without an issue. And then came my exhaust valve. My exhaust valve wasn't installed properly, and the cable was binding up, and what ended up happening was the exhaust valve just needed to be reinstalled. And basically Ducati said if anything would have happened, they would have replaced it 100% for free, guaranteed, no problems or issues. All those issues happened within the first probably 2 months of ownership. And since then, basically the only other thing that I've had happen was my front brake reservoir started leaking a little bit of brake fluid. It wasn't bad, it wasn't terrible. A little bit got down on the subframe underneath the instrument cluster, and it did leave a little bit of a faded spot. Not the worst thing ever. Ducati changed all of my fluids, all of my cylinders for no charge whatsoever. So that's it. That's my 100% everything that I've had to replace or fix since I've owned this thing. All right, guys, I want to show you where the Ducati Panigale 959 shines, and that's in the twisties. Just that sound, dudes, that sound, that fucking it gets me every single time. It flicks so well. It's just amazing. And I've already caught up with the traffic that I gave a significant head start to. Every twist and lean and turn feels just so smooth, and that's because these come with fantastic tires. Pirelli Diablo Rosso Corsas are amazing tires, and they come bone stock on this bike. This is really where the Panigale shines, and that's in twisties. If you wanted a track bike, there wouldn't be a better track bike, I don't think, than a Panigale 959, because you wouldn't be breaking the bank, and you could probably even get one used or wrecked or something like that for probably really cheap, and you could probably have just an amazing track bike. This is my response 1 year later. Here is why the Ducati Panigale 959 is still worth $16,000. I would pay $16,000 again to have the privilege of having this beautiful, fantastic, lovely sounding motorcycle in my life. And guys, if you can, please like the video, please subscribe, throw me a comment down below what you think about it, what you would add, what you wouldn't add, what you think about the bike in general. I love answering comments. I answer every single comment that I get. 100% guaranteed. Thanks for watching again, guys. I'll see you guys on the next video. Deuces.